Life in our little suburban home was like a well-oiled machine. Smooth, predictable, and to be honest, a bit monotonous. My husband, Kent, was a dedicated medical officer, often away on duty in California. His absences were always a minor inconvenience, but they were part of our routine, one I had become accustomed to. With our 5-year marriage and our sweet daughter, Lily, life felt secure and comfortable. Nothing seemed out of place, until Kent left for another stint of duty, leaving me alone with Lily. The evening Kent departed, I was left with a quiet house and a pang of loneliness. I was used to our routine, but now it felt strangely empty. The silence was deafening. I tried to fill it with small tasks and routines, but nothing seemed to break through the heaviness of his absence. In a moment of indulgence, I decided to order pizza. A simple treat, a small escape from the solitude. When the doorbell rang, I wasn't expecting much, just a delivery man with my pizza. But when I opened the door, I was greeted by someone who didn't fit into the ordinary. Standing there was a man who could have been cast as the lead in a romance novel. His name was Nick, and he had a smile that seemed to light up the entire porch. He handed me the pizza with an easy grace, his touch sending an unexpected jolt through me. "Evening," he said, his voice smooth and warm. "Looks like you've got a great night ahead." The moment our fingers brushed, something sparked inside me. It was just a touch, fleeting and insignificant, yet it lingered in my mind. I thanked him, trying to ignore the rush of adrenaline that accompanied his departure. As I closed the door, I found myself wondering if this was what I had been missing. In the days that followed, I found myself eagerly anticipating Nick's deliveries. Each time the doorbell rang, my heart skipped a beat. The mundane act of ordering pizza had become something much more significant. I looked forward to seeing Nick, to feeling that spark of excitement that he seemed to bring with him. One evening, I was feeling particularly adventurous and decided to order groceries online. When Nick arrived, I impulsively invited him in for a drink. It was a decision made on a whim, driven by a restless longing that I couldn't quite explain. Nick accepted the invitation with his characteristic charm. As we sat together, sipping wine and chatting, the atmosphere grew charged. I found myself opening up to him in ways I hadn't anticipated. My frustrations, my unspoken desires, they all came spilling out. Nick listened with rapt attention, his gaze never leaving mine. The connection we shared was palpable, charged with an intensity that seemed to grow with every sip of wine. I could feel my barriers slipping away, replaced by a strange, thrilling sense of vulnerability. The evening took a turn I hadn't expected. As our conversation deepened, so did the attraction between us. Nick's gaze lingered on my lips, and before I knew it, he was kissing me. The kiss was fervent, urgent, a collision of unfulfilled desires and the thrill of the forbidden. When our lips finally parted, I was left breathless, my heart pounding. "I shouldn't have," I whispered, my voice trembling with a mix of excitement and guilt. Nick's expression softened. "We both know this is dangerous," he said, his voice a mix of regret and understanding. Despite the intensity of that first kiss, I found myself drawn back to Nick. Each encounter seemed to pull me further into a whirlwind of emotions. I began to seek out excuses to see him, each pizza delivery becoming a catalyst for our growing connection. The excitement of our secret meetings was intoxicating, but it also left me feeling more and more unsettled. My behavior began to change. The house, once meticulously kept, fell into disarray. Lily noticed the shift. Her once happy and engaged mother was now distracted, lost in thoughts of Nick and the chaotic thrill of our encounters. The guilt weighed heavily on me, but the allure of our secret rendezvous was too compelling to resist. Kent's unexpected return was both a relief and a source of anxiety. He arrived home early, his presence a stark contrast to the chaotic state of our home. I tried to put on a brave face, to mask the turmoil that had become my life. Kent was perceptive, He noticed the disarray and the tension in the air. "Everything all right?" he asked, his concern evident in his gaze. "Just been a bit hectic," I replied, forcing a smile. "You know how it is." Kent seemed to accept my explanation, focusing instead on reconnecting with Lily. His presence, though comforting, only made me more aware of the gap that had grown between us. I felt a profound sense of loss, a realization that the excitement I had sought with Nick had come at the cost of the stability and love that Kent provided. Nick's last delivery marked a turning point. I answered the door with a mixture of anticipation and dread. The encounter was strained, the excitement replaced by a sobering realization of what I had risked. "Claire," Nick said, his voice steady but his eyes betraying a hint of sadness. "I think it's time we end this." The finality in his tone hit me hard. "You're right," I said, my voice cracking with emotion. "It's over." As Nick walked away, a wave of grief and regret washed over me. The thrill of our encounters had faded, replaced by a profound sense of loss and the harsh reality of my choices. Kent's return marked the beginning of a new chapter. He became more involved in our lives, working to restore the harmony that had been disrupted. I sought to rebuild our relationship, to mend the wounds caused by my actions. It was a difficult journey, filled with introspection and the challenge of rekindling the love that had been overshadowed by my betrayal. In the quiet moments of reflection, I began to understand the true meaning of commitment and forgiveness. The thrill of the forbidden had lost its allure, replaced by a renewed appreciation for the simple, steadfast love of my family. The discarded pizza box became a symbol of a time when choices seemed easy but carried unforeseen consequences. I found solace in the everyday routine, in the laughter of my daughter, and in the embrace of a husband who had weathered the storm by my side. As we moved forward, the memories of Nick faded into the past. The experience had left its mark, but it also taught me the value of the life I had built with Kent and Lily. Our bond grew stronger as we navigated the challenges together, finding a deeper appreciation for one another. The story of that summer, of the forbidden kiss and the subsequent journey of redemption, became a part of our past, a reminder of the fragility of perfection and the strength required to heal. In the end, I found peace in the realization that the true essence of our lives lay in the love and commitment we shared as a family.